Have you ever paused at the curb, heart pounding, every fiber in your body whispering, "What if I fall?" You're not alone. That little moment of hesitation, it's more common than most people think. And no, it's not a sign of weakness. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's your body talking to you, gently but urgently. Telling you something's changing. Something's shifting. I've had dozens of patients share the same quiet fear. One woman told me she used to walk everywhere, groceries, church, even her morning coffee run. But now, she scopes out where the benches are before she even leaves her house. And another man, 76 years old, said the thing he missed most wasn't jogging or tennis, it was being able to carry his grandson without worrying about tipping over. These stories are real. They're raw. And they speak to something many older adults face, but don't always talk about. The truth is this. As we age, our balance doesn't just go bad overnight. It fades, slowly, almost invisibly. A little wobble here. A missed step there. And then one day, something small, like stepping off a sidewalk, feels like a mountain. It's not just about getting older. It's about the small losses that add up over time, loss of muscle, loss of coordination, even loss of confidence. According to the CDC, 1 out of every 4 Americans over 65 falls each year. And falling just once doubles your chance of falling again. Now let that sink in. 1 in 4. That means if you're sitting at the senior center with 3 friends, statistically, one of you will fall this year. And for many, it won't be just a bruise. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 65. But here's something that doesn't get said enough. Falling isn't random. It's not fate. And it's absolutely not something you have to accept. In most cases, it starts with a few everyday things that we ignore. Weak leg muscles. Skipping meals. Sitting too long. The good news? Those things can be changed. You can take back control. You can rebuild balance. You can strengthen your legs. You can rewire your sense of stability, yes, even in your 70s or 80s. And that's what today's video is really about. Not just avoiding a fall, but walking through your life with confidence again. With ease. With freedom. So stay with me, because I'm going to show you what your body's been trying to tell you, and what you can do, starting today, to stop the silent slide before it turns into something serious. Now let me ask you something a little more personal. Have you noticed yourself reaching for the wall a little more often these days? Or maybe holding onto the edge of the kitchen counter when you're just standing still, waiting for your coffee to brew? You might not have thought much of it. You might have just said to yourself, "Oh, I'm just a little tired today." But I'll be honest with you, those little moments? They matter. I had a patient, Jim, who was 72. Big personality, always smiling. Used to work construction, tough as nails. When he came in for a checkup, I noticed he sat down very slowly, hands on both armrests, eyes focused on the chair like he was aiming a plane to land. So I asked him, "Jim, are you feeling off balance lately?" He chuckled and said, "Doc, I'm just being careful." That's what you tell us to do, right? And I smiled too, but then I asked him to try something simple. Stand up without using your hands. He tried. And he couldn't. Not without rocking back and pushing with both arms. And that was the moment he realized he wasn't being careful. He was compensating. His muscles had gotten weaker, quietly, without warning signs. And his body had found workarounds. Now, Jim's story isn't rare. In fact, a study by the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy found that over 60% of adults over 65 have some form of muscle loss that affects their balance, but most don't recognize it until they've already had a fall or a close call. So here's what I want you to watch for. Do your knees feel shaky when you step off a curb? Do you find yourself sitting down harder than you used to? Do you avoid walking in the dark, even in your own home? Have you stopped bending down to pick things up, unless you absolutely have to? If you're not into any of those, your body is whispering. It's saying, help me out here. I need a little support. And here's the good news. You can give it that support. Not with pills. Not with fancy equipment. But with simple habits, smart nutrition, and just a few minutes a day. Because balance is not just about your legs. It's about your core, your reflexes, even your inner ear. And every one of those systems can be strengthened at any age. You see, we used to think muscle loss was inevitable with aging. But research now shows that you can rebuild strength even in your 80s or 90s, as long as you know what to focus on. So if you're thinking, well, that's just how it is at my age, please stop right there. Because that thinking, that's the real danger. You know, when people come into my office worried about their balance, they usually expect me to find some big medical problem. But more often than not, it's the little things. The things we do every single day without even thinking. Let me give you a few examples. Take chairs. Yes, chairs. Most of us spend a lot of time sitting, watching TV, reading, eating meals, resting after a long day. Nothing wrong with that, right? But here's the catch. When you sit for hours on end, especially in soft chairs, your glutes, thighs, and core muscles stop working. It's like they go into hibernation. And the longer they sleep, the weaker they get. Then one day, you stand up a little too fast, your legs wobble, and boom. A stumble. Maybe even a fall. Another one? Shuffling your feet. It might seem like a smart thing to do. Keep your feet close to the ground, don't lift them too high. But guess what? That shuffle shortens your stride. Over time, your brain forgets how to take a confident step. So when you really need to move quickly, like catching your balance on uneven pavement, your muscles aren't ready. They haven't practiced that movement in a long time. And here's one that surprises people the most. Holding onto furniture when walking around the house. It seems smart, doesn't it? But think about it. If your balance depends on holding a table or wall, that means your muscles aren't doing their job. Your reflexes get slower. Your confidence drops. And every day, you trust your body less. I had one patient tell me, I only hold the walls just in case. But over time, just in case becomes always. And that turns into fear. And that fear turns into isolation. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying to stop being cautious. What I'm saying is, let's fix the root problem, not just patch it. Because balance isn't just physical, it's emotional too. When you feel steady, you feel confident. You go out more. See friends. Garden. Dance. Live. And when you don't, you start shrinking your world. One hallway at a time. But here's the thing I want you to remember. Balance is a skill. Just like driving or playing piano. And if you stop using it, you lose it. But the good news? You can get it back. So in the next section, I'm going to show you what your body really needs to rebuild balance and strength, starting with one thing you probably haven't paid enough attention to. And no, it's not exercise. Not yet. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Doctor, are you going to tell me to start lifting weights? Not yet. Before we even talk about exercise, we need to talk about something even more important. Fuel. Think about it this way. If your body were a car, your muscles would be the engine. And what happens if you never fill the tank? You could have the best engine in the world, but without fuel, it's not going anywhere. That's exactly what happens to many older adults. We think we're eating enough. But in reality, we're often undernourished, even if we're not underweight. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you thought about your protein intake? Because after age 60, something changes. Your body stops using protein as efficiently. You actually need more protein than when you were younger, not less. But most older adults? They're getting about 30% less protein than they actually need, according to research from Tufts University. And that shortfall? It slowly chips away at your muscles, day after day. That's how muscle loss sneaks in. Quietly. Gradually. Until one day you can't get out of a chair without using your hands. Or you're too tired to carry groceries. Or you avoid stairs altogether. But it's not just about protein. Your muscles also need vitamin D to stay strong. Without it, your body can't absorb calcium properly, and your bones become brittle. One study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that low vitamin D levels were directly linked to poor balance and increased risk of falling in seniors. And then there's magnesium, which helps your muscles relax after they contract. Without enough of it, you might get cramps. Stiffness. That heavy legs feeling that makes walking feel like wading through wet sand. Here's something else I see all the time. Older adults cutting back on food because they don't feel as hungry anymore. Or worse, eating mostly snacks or toast because cooking feels like too much effort. But here's the truth. Every single meal is an opportunity to protect your independence. You don't need to eat like a bodybuilder. You just need real food, things like eggs, fish, Greek yogurt, lentils, chicken, even a protein shake if that's easier. And spread it out across the day, not just one big meal at dinner. Because your muscles? They're listening. They rebuild a little bit every time you give them what they need. And once you start fueling your body the right way, then we can talk about movement. Because food is the foundation. But movement, that's the spark. And don't worry, it's not about hitting the gym or sweating buckets. It starts with just 5 minutes. But we'll get to that in the next section. So now that we've talked about fuel, the right foods, the right nutrients, let's talk about what happens next. Because once your body starts getting what it needs, you may notice something subtle. You feel just a little bit more steady. A little bit more sure-footed. But now, we need to build on that. And I'll be honest, this part scares a lot of my patients at first. They'll say, "But doc, I'm afraid I'll fall if I move too much." Or, "My legs feel too weak, I don't trust them anymore." I get it. I really do. But here's something most people don't realize. The longer you avoid movement, the more your balance disappears. That fear? That hesitation? It actually speeds up the very decline you're trying to avoid. Now, I'm not asking you to start jogging or join a CrossFit class. I'm talking about something way more doable. Something you can do right at home. In your pajamas. No special equipment. No audience. No pressure. We start small, but smart. Let me give you 3 movements I teach nearly all my older patients. 1. The kitchen counter stand. Hold onto your kitchen counter. Stand tall. Feet hip-width apart. Now lift one foot off the ground and balance on the other, just for a few seconds. Feel your foot working? Your leg firing up? That's good. Now switch sides. This simple move wakes up the small stabilizer muscles in your legs and feet, the ones that keep you upright when you trip or change direction suddenly. 2. The heel-to-toe walk. It looks silly, but it's powerful. Pretend you're walking on a tightrope. Step forward so your heel touches the toes of your other foot with each step. Go slow. Arms out to the side. Try this along a wall if you're nervous, or do it down a hallway where you can catch yourself. This trains your brain and body to work together again, to find balance, even when things feel wobbly. 3. Chair squats. This one's my favorite because it builds the strength you use every day. Stand in front of a chair. Slowly lower yourself down, don't plop. Then stand back up without using your hands. Can't do it yet? It's okay. Use the arms of the chair to help, or place pillows to raise the seat. Even just 5 of these a day can help you stand up easier, walk steadier, and feel more confident. These are tiny steps, but they create big change. And once your muscles start remembering what they were built for, that fear of falling, it starts to fade. Not overnight, but gradually. Like spring after a long winter. You begin to move not with fear, but with purpose. And that, my friend, is how we reclaim control. Not by doing everything at once, but by doing the right things, one day at a time. Let me tell you something I've learned after years of working with older patients. It's not always the legs that give out first. It's the confidence. That little voice in your head that whispers, "Careful. Don't try that. You're not steady enough." Or worse, "You're just getting old. There's nothing you can do." I've seen that voice do more damage than any muscle loss or vitamin deficiency. Because the truth is, when you start to believe you're fragile, your body listens. You move less. You sit more. You stop reaching, stretching, exploring. And that's when the real decline begins. But here's what gives me hope, and what I want you to hold on to. You are not broken. You are not too far gone. You don't need to accept fear as your new normal. Balance isn't just about muscles. It's about trust in your body, in your steps, in yourself. And you can build that trust again. Remember the simple foods we talked about earlier? The small movements you can do in your kitchen or living room? They're not just exercises or nutrition tips. They're messages you send to your body. Messages that say, "I'm still here. I still care. I still want to move forward." And over time, your body answers back, "Yes. I can still change. I can still strengthen. I can still stand tall." That's the power of momentum, even at 70, 80, 90 years old. And it's not just about avoiding a fall. It's about walking into a room without fear. It's about getting out of bed without a second thought. It's about dancing at your granddaughter's wedding, or tending to your garden, or just living without hesitation. So if you've ever paused at the curb, afraid to take that first step, let today be the day you step forward anyway. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are not giving up on yourself. And neither am I. If this video helped you feel seen, if it gave you even one idea you want to try, give it a like. Subscribe for more practical health tips made just for you. And share it with someone you love, someone who might need to hear that it's not too late to stand strong again. Take care of yourself. You're stronger than you think.